Hello? Okay, I have no pants on, so we have to protect. Whoa! Hello. All right, my loves. Well, hello. We are going to give our guests a moment here to begin to watch and then jump on with us. So to give you guys a little bit of a backstory real quick while we wait for this guest, I'm really nervous. I'm always super nervous right before I do something like this. I can feel the energy start to land in. I feel like my heart is beating out of my chest. I've taken some notes on a human design chart of a stranger. I've never met her before. She recently met my sister and somehow they connected and she asked me to do this. So I'm going to be doing a live human design reading on her and letting her know what I can see about her simply based on her chart, and we're going to see how it lands. So I've taken some time to write some stuff down that's pretty specific. So we're gonna see how this lands. We're gonna see what ends up happening today. So let me see. I don't see her on just yet. We'll give her a minute here. Whew, I always feel so nervous, like I'm gonna throw up. And then like 2 seconds into the reading, it all goes away. But like that hour leading up to it, man, it's like, whew, butterflies and sweating like crazy. Okay, Lena, it doesn't show me that you're on. So if you are on, comment, wave, do something. Hello, my loves. Hello. I see people jumping on. I don't see my guest just yet, so we'll continue to give her a minute. She actually said that she never really uses Facebook. It's not really a platform that she uses, but she agreed to get back on for this. So, you know, I am on Facebook all the time and barely know how to use this tech, so I can't even imagine. All right, let's see. There's Lily. Cheryl, hello, my love. So for those of you that are on as we wait for Lena, have you guys ever had human design reading? Have you looked at your human design? Are you curious about it? I still don't see her. Let's double check. Standing by. Right. Hi, Lily. Jennifer, I want to dive deeper. Okay, thank you guys for being patient as we try and get Lena on here. Yeah, it's kind of wild. Ever since initially discovering human design, and I can't even really say discover. My sister brought it to me and was like, you need to learn this and then tell me everything that you know about this. But ever since I dived in, I became completely obsessed with everything that, you know, you can see inside of the charts and all of the clarity that comes to it. So I have not stopped digging for the last 2 years. Okay, you see me. Woo woo. Hi, Lena. Okay, let me see if it will let me. Okay. Show me now. How do I do it now? Okay, Lena accepts. Add. Fingers crossed. Okay, we are adding Lena. Yay. Breathe. Hello. Okay, I don't hear your audio just yet. Hello, hello, hello. I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Sometimes it takes a minute. Okay, so, oh, I think we lost her. Okay, so Lena's gonna try and join us on the computer instead, and hopefully that will give her, better connection. Okay, explain human design. Okay, so human design is this concept that you came down onto this planet. There was a reason why you wanted to be here. There was a mission, a purpose, something that excited you about coming down and having this human experience. And in order to be able to be supported in living out that purpose and that mission, you were given a body that was very specifically designed for you. So if you've ever noticed, sometimes you'll be around a certain person and you're like, I don't know what it is about them. They're just naturally charismatic, or they're just really, really funny, or they seem to really understand patterns or structures. Like there's certain qualities that we have about us. There's certain skill sets that we all possess, and they all tend to be different, even when we're raised in similar environments, or we go to similar schools. And so there's like an essence about us. And when we learn human design, essentially what we're learning is what this essence is, like what energy is making us up, what qualities are making us up. We're putting those puzzle pieces together. Why would I ask for all of these specific gifts in what it is that I came down here to do? Inside of human design, we can see how we were designed to operate, how we were designed to move through life, how we were designed to make decisions. What are some struggles that we're probably gonna, bump up against during our lifetime? And so it's like some people describe it as like a manual. Like you would get a manual when you bought a new car, and that manual would tell you everything about that vehicle. What type of gas and oil it takes, what the dashboard lights mean, everything about it. Some people see human design like that, where it gives you all the information about how you were designed to operate and move through the world. And then there's other people who have said that it's like a map. It tells us, you know, how the energy in our body moves, the direction that it moves, because the direction that it moves means it's going to be expressed in a different way. And when it's expressed in a different way, it looks a different way. All right, round two, Lena. Ah, yes, we can hear
Yes.
you.
Okay. I'm still on the phone because I couldn't figure it out on the computer, but that's fine.
I
Hello, Sarah. Nice to see
Hi.
you.
Do you have a Monstera behind you?
Yes, it is. It needs some water.
No, that's all right. I have a million plants. I don't have my monsteras are downstairs, but I have a plant right behind me as well. So I love that.
So
Well,
I'm a plant mom as well, and recently, maybe I shouldn't give you this little clue, but like since my business has been growing, my plants have been dying. And I'm like,
no.
what is going on? Because I have not been giving them attention because I've been giving my business attention. And so my plants are suffering as a result. But
Oh,
anyway, that's what we're
oh,
here to talk about,
I'm
right?
sorry. I'm so I have some plant advice. I can give you some plant advice. But okay, so I'm really excited about this. So
Let's hear it.
this is what I know. So I know that you recently met my sister. I know
Yes,
that she said you guys hit it off. She said you're a
Lisa
lawyer.
is amazing. Yes, I am.
She
Hmm.
said you were, and then and she said that you were up for this, but you were just up for it. Like you were just gonna kind of see what happens, right?
Yeah.
And so I will tell you, when I first pulled up your chart, I immediately got nervous, because the first thing that I noticed is that you have what we call a defined headspace, which means you're it doesn't mean necessarily that you're closed-minded. It means you're very set on how you think, And so you tend to already have your mind made up about certain things. So I anticipated that there may be a little part of you that was like, I don't know about all this, but we're gonna see. So I took some notes about not only how you're designed, but also based on that design, how you're probably showing up today in this world. And then if I was going to coach you simply just looking at your design, not even knowing anything about your business, what would I coach you on? Just energetics alone. So do you have a preference on where we start, or do you just want me to jump in?
I want you to jump in, and I'm actually really open-minded when it comes to this stuff. Melissa and I were
Good.
talking earlier about this, that, I work in a field that's very concrete, but my approach is very woo-woo in a sense. Like, so, and I think that serves me well,
Yeah.
right? To come into a space that's very black and white, defined, rule-based, no nonsense, very like, these are the facts. It's evidentiary based. And then my perspective is very like spiritual, and like coming from aspects like this in human design, and knowing that a lot of times when I come into, because I'm a trial lawyer, I love going to court. Okay. But now I'm managing a business. So that's a challenge for me because I'm a lawyer. I love lawyering, not
Mhm.
businessing. Right. So sometimes I realize that I'm put into a position, for God's purpose. Like it's not me. I'm here to serve a purpose. I don't know how it's going to turn out. And sometimes I'm put in situations where it just miraculously, the outcome is something that other people wouldn't expect it to be. Right. So I find it like to be like a service profession in that way.
Yes.
Right. So I'm one of those people that's able to combine the kind of metaphysical with the very concrete world of being an attorney. And I think that is what makes me unique in a lot of ways. So yeah,
That's
we can start
actually that's
wherever you want.
actually really, really brilliant and a great segue, because one of the things I had jotted down was, as I was looking at your chart to see who you are, I actually identified that there's three of you in one. And so I'm going to share what I think those three personalities are like, how those three people are showing up. And I was kind of curious if they battle at all, or if there's some synergy around them. And so the fact that you've already alluded to the two of like, I have this concrete, very analytical side of me, but I also have this really spiritual woo-woo. We're going to talk a little bit more about the three that I see, but those two show up. So it makes sense. And it tells me that those are more aligned than in conflict, which is great. Okay. So I'm going to do my best to give this to you in everyday verbiage, because you don't know very much about human design. Is that correct?
I know I'm a manifesting generator. That's about all I know.
Okay. But you don't know the lingo, right? Like if I was using human design lingo, okay, perfect. Okay. So you are a Manny Gen. I'm a Manny Gen. So yay, Manny Gens. So manifesting generators, we are here to do work and to love the work that we do. And we are different from a typical generator. We're like I like to think of generators as the group of worker bees, and then there's like this smaller little special group inside of the generators called the manifesting generators. And the manifesting generators, they're like generators in all of the other ways. We do work, we love the work that we do, we get a buzz from doing the work that we do. If we're doing something we really enjoy, we can go days with hardly any sleep. But if we're doing something we hate, we can sleep for 3 days and still feel like we're not rested, right? Like there's like a little generator inside of our body. But what makes the manifesting generator just a little bit different is manifesting generators have a defined throat chakra. And the throat chakra is connected to the motor, which means that when you speak, the energy inside of your voice goes directly out into the world, just like it does for a manifestor. So what we say and how we speak is just incredibly important. You've probably felt the strength of your voice. If you've held back words before that you know needed to come out, you've probably felt the vibrations inside of the throat, like that I need to come out, like the actual energy building up. You may even get like a sore throat from it. Like, God, there's just so much energy that needs to come out of this. So Manny Gens are some of my favorite. I'm biased because I'm a Manny Gen, but when we are really loving what we do, this ends up looking like it reminds me of the Energizer Bunny. Like we'll just go, 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 go. Like we could just keep going as long as we're enjoying ourselves. Manny Gens are here to experience satisfaction. That's what's truly your energy is guiding you towards satisfaction. So when you allow your energy to work for you, you will naturally go towards satisfaction. When you're out of alignment, what you're going to experience is frustration. So those are going to be the two biggest things that show up for you emotion-wise. It's either going to be frustration or it's going to be satisfaction. And that can look different for each person, but that's the energy you're going to land on, right? So you could use frustration as a clear indicator something's not right now. I'm operating outside of my design. To get yourself back into alignment and then get yourself back into satisfaction, because that's why you're here. So let's talk a little bit about psychic abilities, and then we're going to jump into those three characters that I was seeing. So I want to talk about psychic abilities for a minute, because there's without getting into too much information, there's 64 gifts, spiritual gifts we can find inside of our human design chart. We choose 23 of them in our design, and sometimes we will ask for the gift more than once because it's in a different area in our chart. So maybe we wanted that gift not only in our communication, but also in our thought process or whatever, right? Like we wanted that gift multiple times. So I noticed you have a lot of the gifts around psychic abilities. So there's 3 numbers that are associated with intuitive vision, and you have all 3 of them. And usually when you have all 3 of them, this will end up with like visions, premonitions. You might have dreams that end up either coming true or just kind of having that it's like sight. It's like an internal sight, right? You also have gate 57, which is associated with clairvoyance in general. This is like the psychic energy. This comes with an intuitive knowing, where you'll know things and you don't know quite how you know them. You just know that you know them. And yours is actually connected to an activated 34, which also gives you intuitive hearing. So this is going to come across as like, you might actually think it's your own inner monologue, like talking to yourself, right? But it's actually a different voice. And if you're connected to energy, you'll feel the vibration of this voice is slightly different. It's a higher frequency. It feels more like truth. It's like your higher self. More like if you're religious at all, which looking at your chart, you most likely are, it's going to be like it when I'm in the Holy Spirit, right? Like it's just a different, it's a different sound. Okay. So you have that. And not only do you have that it's attached to the intuitive hearing, but you also have the gift of intuitive hearing, and you have it at least twice in your chart. I saw it show up twice. I didn't look to see if it showed up any more than that. So, but you have these like, these intuitive gifts, right? And you have a lot of them, which tells me that there's something about what you wanted to do here that really leans on this intuitive vision, this intuitive hearing, this intuitive clarity. Like I just sort of, I'm protected in that way. I'm guided in that way. I just sort of know where to go, what to do, what to say in the right moment. So really beautiful. I was curious if you were connected to those intuitive abilities or if you've shut down any of those.
That's interesting that you say that, because I wonder where I'm blocked sometimes, because I do get dreams. I do have intuition about things. Like know things that I probably shouldn't know. But I find when I'm blocked, which has happened recently, that I don't have that connection. I can't hear. And recently I've been like, why can't I hear? Why can't I hear? And sometimes I like refer to it as God's voice, or like, why can't I hear?
It's so trippy. So you said, why can't I hear? And then something glitched and you went silent. And I'm watching your lips and there's no voice. And I'm like, why can't I hear? I still can't hear you. I don't know. I think there's like a little mic icon. Maybe it got touched.
What about now?
Oh, I can hear you now. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, someone called and I think
it froze it off. Yeah. Oh, okay,
yeah.
So you were saying, I'm sorry.
I was just saying that like sometimes when I am not connected, I wonder what it's because of something else that's going on. And when I'm in this, what you said, frustration or dissatisfaction
Mm-hmm.
area, it's harder for me
Yeah.
to hear,
Yeah.
you know. And I was telling Melissa, shout out to her, she's here. You know, I was telling her, I was like, there used to be a time where I'd wake up and I'm like ready to go, like I'd jump out the bed, ready to go, like conquer the day. And then when I have these periods of dissatisfaction or frustration, I don't have that feeling, and also I don't have that hearing.
Yeah.
That connection is lost some kind of way. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's very interesting that you said that.
Yes.
And those visions, you know, I do get dreams, and then like a day later something will happen, or like I'll, for example, like I had a dream. I want to say like a couple of weeks ago that my cousin, who I hadn't seen in a long time, got arrested, and like we were going through a drive-through, and we got pulled over by the police for stealing from the drive-through, and then I found out that that same cousin had gotten arrested for stealing a pizza.
No,
yes, like
stop.
no, I'm not even kidding. So that kind of stuff like happens to me all the time.
Yeah, I mean,
You know, and it may not be like exact, but it's like
yes,
I'm giving a glimpse of something that's going to happen, and then it
yes,
happens.
yes.
In some way, shape,
So, so real quick, I'm going to sidebar real quick to tell you a little bit about how you can develop this. So when you said like it's not exact, but it's like a line along the lines, right? Like you in fast food, but it was pizza, right? So what it's doing is they're using things that are readily available that you're able to see, either because you recently saw them, or that's what you would imagine if you were thinking about, you know, fast food or whatever. So you can start to create you can start to create like a little cheat sheet where, you know, just tell your guides what it is that you want to see to represent certain things. So like you can start to give them directive. And this is like, do you have children, Lena?
yes, I have
Okay,
3 girls.
oh, beautiful. So you know, with your goals, they don't come out of the womb speaking. You have to create a language with them. And so you'll take the time to point to things and to show them things. When you say this is what that means to mama. When you say this is what you get from that. You have to create a language and open lines of communication with your higher power as well. And so a lot of times people will feel blocked, but really it's just because they've never even tried to create a line of communication. They're just assuming that their guides will know how to reach them if they want to reach them, but our lines of communication are different. And so they'll try all sorts of things to get our attention. And so you'll make it so much easier for them if you can just start directing them and telling them, when you show me this is what I'm going to think. When you show me this is what I'm going to think. You showed me this in my dream last night. This is what I took that as. Let me know if I'm on the right path or not. And they will literally move things around to make sure that you can understand what it is that they're trying to help you with.
Okay.
A little journal might help. Okay, so we're going to talk about making decisions. Oh, actually, we're going to circle back to the making decisions because I really want to explain something unique about you that I don't see very often. So your energy, first of all, you have a lot of energy defined in your body. There's 9 chakras that we look at, and the chakras can either be defined or they can be undefined. If they're defined, it means you came down already knowing how to use the power or the energy of that chakra. If they're not defined, you don't quite know how to use them, and this is where people can be manipulated, conditioned to be something other than who they are. So of the 9 chakras, you have 8 of them defined. So you're pretty solid energetically. You know, your energetic body is pretty defined in how it's going to work and what it's going to do. But that energy that you have, all that energy in your body, it's actually split into 3 different parts. Okay, so what this means is that your energy, all 3 of these parts, they all have sort of their own agenda. I like to think of people like this as overachievers. You couldn't just come down to do one thing. You had to come down to do 3 things. And you were given kind of like 3 different characters to help you with these 3 different, you know, agendas. And so the first thing that I want to tell you is if there's ever any part of you that feels like you're living in conflict, or you're like, this part of me feels like this way, but this part of me feels like this way, understand this concept about your energy is that it's like 3 in 1, and that's really beautiful because you're able to do so much more by having these 3 different parts, but there's no way for them to connect. And so sometimes that can cause, a little bit of internal confusion about, who am I if these different pieces are talking. So the first one, and I got a little bold here in describing these guys, so I'm kind of curious. Okay, so the first one that I see is actually in your crown chakra. This is your head and your Ajna coming together and creating a partnership. Ajna is all about processes, ideas, concepts, and head is inspiration. And so when these come together, I nicknamed this part of you the Little Miss Busy Brain. She is very, very, very active mentally. Okay, so she's an abstract thinker. She likes to think about her past and connect the dots. Why did this happen? Look at how all these dots are connecting. This is now how it's making sense to me. She loves patterns. And she's not necessarily this. I don't want this to come across as like this is a negative thing, but she will often like harp on the same thing over and over again. But each time she retells the story, maybe she changes just a little bit of it. Like, well, what happens if this conversation had been just a little bit different, or what happened had I done this, or what happened had they done that? And it's more of like just her brain has to stay busy, like her process has to be busy. And so if there's nothing new coming in, she will mull over the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. So so that's one little piece of you. Then you have the next piece of you is the throat and your solar plexus connecting. Now the throat is all about expressing yourself, and solar plexus is all about emotions. So because these two have paired together, this part of you wants to express the way that you're feeling about things. Okay, so this energy specifically is very charming. This is a very graceful social energy. So, you're able to like work a room. I nickname this the social stranger though, because even though she's able to walk this room, and get everybody to like her, she still stays very aloof. She's not really letting them know her business. And that actually makes her more magnetized, right? Like people really enjoy that quality about her, that she's staying aloof. But this energy is all about emotional expression, which means you have to be in the right mood to turn on this superpower. You cannot be charming and graceful when you're pissed off. It doesn't jive right. So this is something that this is like a social ability that you're only able to use when you want to be social. The other thing to recognize about this is like this energy is to create bonds and okay, let me make sure I say this in a way that is okay. Your energy is going to naturally pull people in to bond them to you, but it's not because you actually care about bonding with them as much as you want them to hear what it is you have to say. You need an audience to express to. And that's just the way this energy works. So like you can let yourself off the hook if like people are really like into you and you're just not feeling them. Like, that's just sometimes happens that way. Okay. So, what's really interesting about this too is that your Mercury gift is actually sitting in what we call line 4, which means that you were designed to communicate best in multiple small groups. So this is like networking. Like I bounce around and I talk to a bunch of small groups throughout my work, and small groups meaning less than 15. So that's the way that your voice was designed to be ideally used. That doesn't mean that you can't communicate in other ways, but that's like the way that it was designed. And so I find that very interesting that you also have this kind of dynamic of I bounce into a group to share, and then I bounce to another group and share. And I feel like I'm really connected and bonded with all of them. They really think I'm connected and bonded with them, but it's sort of surface level as I bounce through these, and share my magic. Okay, so then the third one that we have, this is your fire. So this is the heart, the G center, the spleen, and the sacral all together. This is 4 chakras coming together. This is the ego.
The G center, the spleen, and what else?
and the sacral.
Okay.
So this is all about ego. This is about who you identify as. And when we talk about identity here, we're not just talking about like you, how you identify, but also like your love, your direction in life, your jobs, like your roles. It's like the character that you've created, plus your instinct, plus your intuition. So all four of those things are coming together. This part of you is very competitive. She's a fierce warrior. She's not afraid to jump in. She actually prefers to be first. So you know how like when some people come for coaching, they're like, I'm so afraid to do anything. Like they're like, I have all these ideas, but I just sit on my hands. Like that's not you. You're going to be going out there. You're going to be doing the thing, you know, trying to be the first at it. You might be a little shocking. Your energy might be a little shocking to people.
Yeah.
You know, it can be intense at times. And this is also the part of you that is or connected to your intuition, your ability to be spontaneous about certain things when you just know that this is what you're supposed to be doing. You've already mastered this energy that you have access to. It's already mastered the art of survival, which means that you're not really like doing things from a space of how can I survive. It's almost like your energy already knows how to survive. It's more interested in like, where do we go from here though? Like, let me build this bigger. And in order to do that, it's a self-centered and self-absorbed energy. And I don't mean that in a negative or bad way. It's not really concerned about anybody else's like limited beliefs or thoughts about you as much as it's like, look, I've already done all that, and now I'm looking to do more, and like it or not, I'm going.
Right. You said selfish and self-centered, or self-centered?
Yes, self-centered and self-absorbed.
Self-absorbed.
It cares about its own process, right? Like you care about your growth. And so you're going to be focused on your own growth. And in order to do that, you have to be concerned about yourself and put yourself in the forefront there.
So interesting. I can relate to all of these.
You can relate?
Yes. And I know, and I can tell you at different points when they come out.
Yes, they're independently operating. So you know how some people say, oh, like I have all these different, you know, attributes in my personality and it's all kind of mixed in the same pot. That's not what we're talking about here. You have like three distinct. Yes.
They pop out at different times. Like, so this last one you're talking about, this is totally like trial mode, beast mode. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but then it's interesting that you said about number 2, social stranger. I find myself like good at networking, but though I don't like it because I have to like preserve my energy. I have to be really ready to do that kind of work. But when you said that my gift is in multiple small groups, and that kind of connects to number 3, because if I'm speaking to a jury, that's a small group of people, right?
Yes.
And I can really connect to them.
Yeah.
Because I'm combining that throat and what was it, solar plexus.
Yep.
So a lot of times when I'm doing that work, when I'm speaking or when I'm like telling a story of my client, I connect emotionally. I have to hold back tears sometimes. Because I'm connecting to the client's story and I'm telling it, and like, I'm like, why do I feel like crying? Like, it's not a good time to cry, you know?
Yes, so. It's literally you are designed, like the energy is designed to start in your solar plexus as emotion and bubble up through your throat and then come out of the throat. And so, you know, and you have the gate of stimulation, which means that you use storytelling inside of your throat in order to share. And so it's like, if you can imagine, you connect to your client, and that emotion bubbles up, and then it has to come through the throat as stimulation. So it makes a lot of sense that you would experience that in that way. And it's really important for you to realize that you're designed that way for a reason. But could you also see how in a low vibration, how speaking from a state of emotion probably gets you in trouble in other times?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so everything in human design, every gift that you have has a corresponding shadow. Every gift that we're given has a way that we can use it in high vibration or low vibration. So the way that I associate this is like high vibration, low vibration, heaven, hell, in Holy Spirit, or for the devil. Like it's the same it's the same gift, it's the same energy, but it's, are you expressing that energy in high vibration, or are you expressing it in low vibration, or are you using the energy for God's work, for your true mission and your purpose, or are you using it for flesh, right? And so when we look at all of your gifts are associated with a shadow as well. And the key here is that when we're using human design to coach, it's not about removing these yucky, bad parts of you. It's about realizing, why are those parts there? What gift were you supposed to be using this for? And then channeling that energy into the gift, because the moment you start using that energy in high vibrational gift, all the shadow consequences just start to disappear, right? Like, you don't have to worry about removing it. You have to bring the light in instead of trying to take the darkness out, right? Like, it's just a different approach. So you have these beautiful 3 parts of you that allows you to do so much more for this planet, but you're gonna have to deal with some of the shadows that come with having 3 different parts. So let's talk about those. The first thing is that in relationships, unless you find somebody who bridges all of your gaps, it's going to be really hard for you to feel fulfilled in just one relationship. So usually when I see people like this, they're either polyamorous, right? They're either in a relationship where they're not happy, or if they are in a monogamous relationship where they're happy, they have a lot of friends and other people that they're connected to, and they make sure that they have time with those other people to get that connection from others. The other way that do you relate to that or resonate with that?
I can resonate with the fact that relationships have been a very tough area for me. Because like you're saying, they may fulfill one need, but then I'm lacking in other needs. And I just thought maybe I was too complex, or that I didn't find someone that I could connect with on like all levels, like mentally, physically, spiritually. But I just thought maybe that's a common problem. But now that you're saying it like this, it makes a lot of sense, because, you know, typically in relationships, people want to be the other person's everything, which is not, in my mind, healthy. Like, it's like, you can't be my everything, you know, like, and I joke about, I've been single for 6 years. I've been single for 6 years. I went through a really bad divorce, and but you know, I'm still kind of like going through some ancillary stuff from that. But you know, I tease people and say, it takes a hell of a man to beat none at all, because I can have one come like fix the stuff in the house. I can have one that makes me laugh, one that takes me to dinner. You know what I mean? So like, but if I got one man, then that man wouldn't be able to do all those things. They wouldn't be able to fulfill all those roles, right? So, and it doesn't mean like that I'm having sex with all these men. Most of the time it's not, because they don't do anything for you once you start having sex with them. Right? One of the ways
too, like when we look at things like this, one of the things that we do inside of human design work is challenge the conditioning we have received. So a lot of times women have been conditioned, like you said, that your partner needs to be the only one, and if you're, you know, and everything needs to come from your partner, right? And so you start to think your partner is this one. So then when it doesn't feel that way, it's like, well, maybe he's not this person, or maybe there's something wrong with him that he can't do these things. And I don't think that everybody was designed to, I don't think anybody was designed to get everything they need from one friend or one person. So, you know, just being open to this idea of like, where does that thought even come from, that we have to have it? You know, it's okay for me to have, you know, friends outside of this. It's okay for me to have things from different people. And it's okay to have male friends that bring things to you and them not have, you know, not be sexual, right? Like sometimes we struggle with that in this society, but we're capable of doing that as well. So I actually had I had a really interesting conversation with a woman who, she was a quadruple split, so 4 different parts. And she said she had never felt connected in her relationships like completely. And she said, except her last husband, she was like best friends, and he ended up passing away. And she says, after he passed away, I never even dated again, because there was something about him that just, and we pulled up his chart, we had his information, and he just so happened to connect all 4 of those pieces, which is very rare, right? So it's like, but it exists. In fact, I thought this was really funny, because Melissa and you, Melissa bridges all your gaps.
Let's go, Melissa. Let's go, Sydney, bestie.
So, you know, when you're around her, you probably feel a little bit more like whole. Those pieces have like a way of connecting. It's almost like if you could imagine when Melissa's around, she creates an environment where all three of those pieces of you can like get together and be in the same room and not feel like they're in conflict, right? So so that was really cool. I also noticed that you guys had a connection theme of just have fun. So you guys are here to have a good time with each other and have fun with each other. So that was really, really cool. So any questions before we get into what I think I would coach you on, not knowing you?
I don't know. Like, there's so much here. All this really makes sense. It's not that I have questions. I did meet somebody recently who I feel like super comfortable with, and it's been different. You know what I mean? Like, it's just been easy. So I've never had a situation where it's just been easy like that. So I'm like interested to know how that's gonna go.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. It would be cool too to like put your guys' charts together and see like, do those pieces connect at all? How do those pieces connect? Does that person amplify your energy? Do they, you know what I mean? There's different things, different connections, different themes inside of our partnerships with people, and they all look different. They're all really unique. So really, really cool. All right. So like I was saying, every gift that you have is going to have a corresponding shadow. Okay. So think about it this way. Adolf Hitler clearly had the gate of influence coming out of his voice, clearly. On the high vibration, high frequency, he can use his voice to influence other people to do things that they normally wouldn't do. But look at what that looks like in low vibration, right? Yeah. It's not that the power goes away. It's not that the gift goes away. It's that the gift gets expressed in the shadow, in the darkness, instead of in the light. And so we want to be aware of how the things that are like tripping you up, the cycles, the patterns that you get trapped in, things that are coming up in your life that you don't necessarily, want to happen. Those things are actually a shadow of something so much bigger, so much better. And so what we're looking to do is, instead of focus on the shadow, is look at what is this gift really here for me to be using it, and then how can I tune into that gift instead and do whatever shadow work or healing you need to do to get from point A to point B. So here's the first one that I noticed that I wanted to bring up. So you have the superpower, I wrote this down because I wanted to get this right, to perfect a superficial personality that can mask its own feelings to secure your protection. And the gift of stimulation as a role and for protection. So let me tell you how this would look.
Can you repeat it one more time? Superpower.
Sure, and if you want, I can send these to you too. Okay. Yeah, you can perfect a superficial personality. So you can perfect being fake, right?
That's horrible.
As a way to mask your feelings so that you can secure protection. This was a gift that was given to you because it knew on some level you were going to need this. And you may even connect to it. You may even say, I know exactly why I was given this, because I had to mask my own feelings to stay safe in this situation, whatever the case may be. Sure. And you have the gift of stimulation for protection, which means you can use stimulation as a way to get out of difficult situations, right? Situations where you may not be safe. You can use your ability to stimulate that person or story tell or whatever you need to kind of keep yourself safe, kind of act like you're okay when you're not. So an example of this, when I was reading about you and I was sitting here with this, I imagined a movie that I saw once where this girl she was part of the bad guys, but she was really a cop, but she was acting like she was the bad guy. And they like threatened her friend, and she was like, fucking shoot him. I don't get it. You know what I mean? And she's blocking her emotion, and she's all like, I'll do it myself or whatever. And she's masking, and she's this fake person to keep herself safe, and she's cool under pressure, and she never even gave away that she was really concerned about them hurting her partner. Like, you have that gift, right? But check this out. This is what this shows up as a shadow. It's a very quick behavior So like a panicky, I gotta go behavior, whose price is being constantly stressfully alert. So constantly being alert and aware of your situation, and having a nervous anxiety around losing everything you've gained or built.
Yes. This is so true.
And there's a fear there of being uncovered. So this may sound like, okay, I've worked so hard to achieve these things. What happens if these things disappeared? Who would I be then? Like, how could I keep this mask on? So if you've built a business already and you're feeling like you're not connected to it, I would ask yourself if you built it from a place of one of your superficial masks instead of from your true, authentic, this is what I want to do, right? Like were you wearing a mask, a different personality when you chose to build some of the things that you were building? And then, so do you want to move on, or do you want to talk about this at all?
We can talk about it a little bit. So when I built my business, I was in a job that was soul sucking, life draining, like hated it. Was not able to grow, was not able to express who I was not able to be an attorney, was looked over for promotions, was like just taken for granted. I had a very toxic supervisor who I think just resented me and came up with like concepts of why I shouldn't be there. Like she gave me 14 different 14 different, I call them indictments, but basically all these things that I had done wrong. She gave me 14 verbal warnings. Like she's trying to fire me, right? And in the meantime, I was building the business as a way of getting out. I was building it as a way of getting out. I had given my 2-week notice, and because of her venom, they ended up firing me before I could even, that 2-week notice was up, right?
Yeah.
And they protected themselves so I couldn't like file an EEOC or anything like that to get back at them or whatever. So part of what fueled the business was not only, I'm gonna show them, you know what I mean? But it's also like survival mode, because I'm used to relying on like getting a 2-week paycheck. But the day after I got fired, I made my 2-week paycheck in one day.
Yeah.
The day after I got fired, I made that 2-week paycheck the next day. And it was like everything in the universe was telling me, like, or God was telling me, however you want to say it, like, didn't I tell you to move? Like, you should have moved a long time ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so not only was that fueling it, my divorce and how that went down, like he tried to like clean me out. You know what I mean? Like I had to be like, it was almost from a place of I can prove who I am. Like I knew deep down who I was, but it was like I can prove who I am, right?
Yes.
And I was able to quadruple my income in that 1 year. Maybe I think I might be 5 times over now.
Wow.
5 or 6 times over what I was making before was my growth for the next year, right? So I was going straight off of like venom, like not really venom, but like just like this steam of like, yes, let's go. Like I gotta prove who I am. And then I had those moments of like really enjoying that Manny Jen kind of energy, like you're talking about, like I really enjoy doing this, like I love this, right? But when it came to the management of the business, of the people, the tedious tasks and all that stuff, that's where I was getting caught up and like not really liking it, you know?
Yeah.
So that's where the conflict is right about now, I think. I'm not in that energy of having to prove it anymore. I just want it to be fun again. I want it to be fun again.
Yes.
And I want the money to come easily again. You know?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So one of the things, the only center, the only chakra that you have that is not defined is your root chakra, which is all about, it's all about pressure and drive. Okay. And so the way that you can be conditioned or manipulated here, the way that it will show up in a negative way here is it's a pressure to hurry up and just be done with something. So it's like, could I hurry up and just get that income back? Could I hurry up and just get back? You know what I mean? Like, so you just want to make sure that that doesn't creep up on you in some sort of way and play with you from a space of like interfering with divine timing or getting caught up in this pressure of like, I have to figure this out right now. Like let yourself just, it's okay wherever you're at, right? But also, man, something came up for me while you were talking and then I think I spaced it. Oh, inside of human design, we can actually see some people are designed to have a team working for them. And some people are designed to have a team working for them, and they're designed to work with the team. And some people are called team adjacent, which means I have a team, but I don't even talk to my team. Like, I pop in every once in a while, and they just do everything for me, right? And so there's so many different things that we can look at inside of human design. And I'm just going to plug real quick for the collab that we're doing with Melissa. For all of you guys that are watching, those are some of the things that we're going to be able to tune in to. So it's like, if it's like, I really love my job, I love what I'm doing, but I'm feeling burnt out by like the business model, let's say, which is how I was feeling. Then when I learned, well, you're operating in the wrong business model. You know, for those of you guys that saw me at the very beginning of doing this work, I would do like 8-10 week courses. That's not how I'm designed to operate. 2 weeks in, I'm feeling exhausted, right? So I needed to, you know, I needed to do short, you know, one-on-one sessions, retreats, things of that nature. Manny Gens also, by the way, are not meant to niche. We love all the things, and that's going to be something different than what you hear most coaches say. Some people are designed to niche, but we're not, right? Mm-hmm. So, okay, so let's talk about the second thing that's coming up. And this is really funny because this has to do with relationships. And you said that that was one of the things that, you know, that was showing up for you. So your superpower here is to restrict relationships that hinder ambition. This is essentially the superpower to protect your own energy. And the reason why you have this superpower is connected to, it has a desire to not waste your energy. So remember we talked about you've got 3 things going on. Like there's so much in you that's trying to be expressed and trying to find its way out in the world that you can't be bogged down by things that are not meant for you. So you have this superpower to just automatically resist people that are not good for you. But listen to how the shadow shows up. Sometimes you may think that you can instill what's missing in a partner. So like if you meet someone, you're like, I can fill the gap. And when you do this, it becomes a waste of energy because you're maintaining a relationship that is actually energetically hindering your ambition.
Wow, that's point on. That's spot on.
So I would coach you to that, like just being aware of like, am I allowing the superpower to repel people? And when people are repelled, am I coming in as Captain Save-A-Ho, right? Of like, oh, I can fix this person. Or am I trusting my intuition that repel is happening for a reason? This is not somebody who's supposed to be in my energy right now. I got too much. I'm sure as a lawyer, you may have taken some classes around accounting. Did you ever hear of this term called opportunity cost?
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's like this, for those of you that are listening in, it's like this idea that an opportunity doesn't just cost you. It's like it also costs you in the opportunities that you're passing by saying yes to something else. So an example would be if somebody said, how much does college cost? Most people think, oh, it just costs tuition, but it's actually costing tuition plus the opportunity cost of getting a job. Because had you got a job, you would have been making $50,000, but instead you're going to school spending $50,000 on tuition. So school actually costs $100,000, or 50 in tuition and 50 in lost opportunity. And so when you think about opportunity cost, I always think of the story in the Bible about the talents, you know, when he gave them and he's like, what are you going to do with it? It's like, how are you using your energy? Like, are you wasting it? Are you burying it? Are you spending it on people that you're not here to solve? Like it's not just about the wasted energy that you're putting into feeding a plant that's not ready to grow, but also it's like, what are you not doing because you're over here focusing on this plant, right? Where was this energy supposed to be used to begin with? So really cool there. Once you shift into high vibration around there, you'll just naturally repel people away, which I think is amazing. I'm an introvert, so I'm like, yes, repel.
Yes, I need my time. Yes.
Okay, and then last but not least, you have an incredible superpower that I hope you get really excited about. You said you're you said that are you shifting businesses right now? You're starting something new? Is that what you said?
No,
Or
I've
what?
been in this for a year and I want to grow it. I'm trying
Okay,
to get to my goal, like monthly number, and it's just like I've been having resistance getting
got
it. Like I get closer, closer, and then, some kind of
it, got
block.
it. Yes. Okay. All right. So you have this ability, this superpower called phasing. And I'm actually really, really interested in seeing, like, I can see here energetically how you and Melissa, I don't know if Melissa's still watching, how you and Melissa can pair up, and Melissa could actually benefit from borrowing some of this from you. And you guys have a really strong energetic connection, so I think this would be powerful. But this is what phasing is. Okay, so essentially, it's successfully utilizing the completion of something you developed
Hmm.
to then get support for your next thing. So it's like the energy to attract support for the new thing based on evidence that you were successful at the last thing.
Okay.
So in real life, this would look like you did really good at one business. So an investor says, absolutely, I'll give you money. I don't care that it's on a
Just
different
thinking
thing.
about an investor.
Yes,
Okay, that's funny.
I'm giving you this money because of your work that you did in this other area. So in the shadow, you tend to think that you need to hide past successes because if you hide them, you avoid demands that you don't want to meet, or there is a pressure to hide the beginning of something in fear that you're going to lose past support. So this is like when you're switching lanes. Like, let's say that you did really well at one job and then you're switching focuses and you're like, but I don't want anyone to know that I'm switching focuses because I'll lose all the support of my old people. But it's like, no, recognizing that your superpower is when you switch, when you move to something new, the people who were supporting you and the success that you had in the previous thing actually propels and launches you successfully into the new thing. It's like you're using the momentum from the old thing, even if the old thing is a completely different thing than what you're building now.
Got it.
So the more open you can be with your process about how successful you are, and not divide them and saying, oh, well, I was successful in that, but now I want to be successful in this, and this is different than that. You can't play those games with yourself. You have to see it as, I am successful, period. Doesn't matter what I do. I could start a million times over. I'm always going to be successful because I have this superpower of attracting the resources that I need. The resources need to know what you're up to in order to support you. So you want to make sure that you're, letting people know what you're up to.
Okay.
So
That's pretty dope.
I,
I mean, that's in alignment too, because I have a way of like monkey borrowing from like one thing
yeah,
to the other thing,
yep, yeah,
right?
just
And I
getting
actually
all the
been,
support.
that's I have not been supported in that in a lot of things, in a lot of ways, because like my, for example, my ex, hate to go back to him, but he like really disliked the fact that I was like multitasking from my one employer trying to branch out into business. And I think that created a block for me for a long time because
Mm-hmm.
of that level of resistance, or somebody, oh, that's a stupid thing to do. But they didn't have the ability to think how I thought, right? Like
Yes,
a lot of people are very comfortable in just their like 9 to 5, or like whatever they
yes,
think is the thing that they can see. Their faith can't expand beyond like what they can actually see concretely, right? And
correct. And
so like I think I've
remember
grown
you had,
past that, like with this last situation with that toxic job where I was able to monkey bar. I was forced to
yeah,
monkey bar because of
yeah,
the survival, the unhealed root chakra or whatever. It's like, okay, I gotta have my baseline amount before I'm ready to make that leap. Like I had to do it like in a certain way for me to feel comfortable the way I'm designed. But that monkey bar had to happen, and then look what happened. It was a
yeah,
reward for taking that
yeah,
leap of faith. So yeah, I can
yes. You
definitely relate to that.
you will always be blessed when you follow your sacral, your intuition. When those knowings that say just do this, the knowings are not going to make logical sense. So this isn't going to be something that makes analytical sense. That's a different part of you. So remember, you have the busy, mental part of you, but you also have that bigger part of you that's down below. That's your intuition. That's your instinct. That's sacral life force energy. That's divine, God coming right through you, right? Like that's a stronger piece of you. That one has more weight than the logical mind part. And so you want to lean into that. That's why I was really excited when you said that you won't overanalyze and you're staying open-minded and trusting in the knowings, because that means that you are feeding that side. And that's sometimes the harder part for people to feed, is the intuition and the trust, having faith, true faith. Like, I don't have to figure this out. I am supported. I just take a step and I'm going to be supported. Like, that's the type of faith that you're called to have, especially to be able to get to all three of these things that you have simultaneously, trying to work out. I did want to say earlier, when you said other people don't have as much vision as you, remember, you have 3 vision gifts. So you are absolutely right. People will not have the vision, and people just have not been given that gift like you have. And so fight any urge of frustration, because remember, frustration is low vibe, and satisfaction. Instead of being frustrated that they don't see it, be satisfied in your ability to see it, right? And know that you could see it for a reason. There's a reason why you've been given the privilege to be able to see so many beautiful things. So I have one last thing for you,
Okay.
and this is around decision making. So because you are a triple split and an emotional authority. So first, let's talk about the fact that you are an emotional authority. So we all have authorities in our body. This is what energy, what chakra was designed to make decisions for me. No one was designed, by the way, to use the head chakra to make decisions, but we've been conditioned to believe that we are supposed to use the head chakra to make decisions. And so you were designed to use the solar plexus. So this is what that looks like. It looks like, have you ever gone surfing before, or have you watched somebody surf?
Oh my God, it's so funny that you said that, because my dream is like to have a house on the beach and be an old lady who surfs in the morning, like gets up in the morning.
That's awesome. That's amazing. So,
but yes, I've seen people surf before.
Yes. So when somebody's surfing and they paddle out and then a wave comes, once the wave comes, you have to ride the wave out. There's no stopping, switching directions. Oh, I changed my mind. I don't want to be out here. I want to go out further. Like, you have to ride the wave, and then you have to wait for the wave to calm down before you're able to like switch directions or move or leave or do whatever you want to do. So whenever you have a decision that you need to make, you are going to feel an emotional wave. And when this emotional wave comes, what it's doing is it's delivering all of the emotion that could potentially come out of this decision. So you will feel the highs of the highs, the lows of the lows. What happens if it does work out? What happens if it doesn't work out? What if it's the best thing ever? But what if it was going to be the best thing ever, but I accidentally missed it by not doing it? And you'll have, and that busy mind that you have will start to play with this, and it will be all of these things. Now, here is how you were designed. Huh?
This is so true.
So here is how you were designed to operate. You're going to just sit on the surfboard and let all of the emotions come without trying to do anything while on the emotional wave. Don't make the emotions mean anything. Don't tie them to a narrative. Don't make decisions based on the emotions. Just let the emotions come out, come out, come out. And you're going to let them all come out of the body, right? Just come out, come out, come out, come out. And then once they're out, you're going to go to a state of calm. I finally got all that out. And then once you're at a state of calm, then your intuition, which is a very strong intuition, can finally be heard. The emotions are a stronger energy than the intuition. So you're going to have to wait. It's like trying to cross the street with a bunch of busy cars going. You got to wait first for it to be clear before you move. As long as you wait for those emotions to settle down and for that wave to go down, your sacral, your intuition, divine, will tell you what to do every single time. but you got to get there first. If you try and make a decision before, you don't get all the way to the sacral, and then that's where you end up getting into decisions, either because you were low vibration and you were upset, so you made a decision, or you were high vibration, super excited, so you made a decision, and then it turned out that wasn't the decision for you. Now, because you're a triple split, you have 3 waves, girlfriend. So it's not just about hanging into the wave once. So you need to sleep on your decisions. Like, take time to let each one of those pieces of you have a chance to emotionally process how they would feel. Like, I know it seems weird that I'm talking about they, like third person, but it may help you to actually think about these 3 people as different people. Let them each have their own emotional reaction to whatever the decision is. Let them each go through the wave, and then you make your decision. If you only let one piece of you in on a decision, that decision, no matter how good that decision is, the other 2 will be so angry that it just will never work. They'll be upset that they were not included in the process.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
So,
it sounds a little schizophrenic, but
yeah,
I'm gonna rock it out.
Okay, it's all right. You know, our biggest shadows, our biggest gifts, our biggest gifts, our biggest shadows. You know, it's, you obviously ask for some really big gifts, which means that it can come across a little shadowy to some people. And hey, if you were tapped into all your shadows, you might look a little crazy, but you know,
it does rub people the wrong way a lot of times, because they don't understand, you know, and that's okay. That's fine.
You're not here to rub everyone the right way.
That's right.
So I've
This
enjoyed.
Amazing, Sarah. I love this so much. I feel like I have so much to process with this,
Yes.
but I'm just really excited because it gives me so much insight on how I can utilize these gifts and also temper some of the shadow stuff that I've seen going on. You know.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to work with you. Like, for sure, I'm going to sign up for the course.
You're doing the class? Woo-woo!
Yeah, I already talked to Melissa about it.
Oh,
so,
good. Good.
Good.
Hi,
And I'm glad you guys can help other people with this, because it's so needed, right? Like, and
yes.
Even as a kid, like, I wanted to come here and do like multiple things. Like, everybody was like, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" I'm like, "I want to be a doctor and a lawyer," right? Then I went to law school, and I'm like studying like naturopathic medicine. Like, I'm like, "Oh, I want to do this," you know?
Yes.
So definitely, like, all these energies, it makes sense that, you know, I have this going on. But,
and you know what it reminded me of when I was looking at them was that, you know, when we talk about like mind, body, soul, you know, God, Father, Holy Spirit, we talk about this idea that there's like these 3 pieces that come together and create a whole. And, you know, your mind is fixated on your thoughts, and your body is fixated on, you know, feelings and physical sensation, and your soul is focused on energy, right? And it's like when you look at these different parts, you can see them show up. It's like we have that really mental piece of you, and we have that really like body, like individual, you know, wants to use for voice piece of you, and then we have like that soul, like intuition, you know, woo-woo piece of you. And I really think that it's sort of beautiful, the pattern there, and the way that like your design, to me, sort of mirrors, you know, like a bigger trilogy of what's going on, you know. So I think it's really, really cool. I think you asked for a lot of these gifts for a reason, and so I'm really excited to see you, you know, shift into a place where they're being fully expressed, so we can see what that magic looks like.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Melissa asked, "Oh, you put it. Oh, how valuable was this for you? Amazing, priceless. Thank you. Well, I appreciate you. It was so nice getting to know you and to learn more about you. If you have any other questions, just feel free to reach out.
I'll be in touch. Definitely.
All right, bye.
You. Bye.
You're welcome. And for everybody else watching, I hope you take advantage and join us for the collab. I was actually sharing with my husband what me and Melissa are doing. And at first he was like, let me go back. At first he was like not quite grasping like what this collab would look like. And then as he's heard me talk about it and he's seen the flyer, he's like, holy crap. He's like, this is genius. You have like you who helps people get into alignment with who they were designed to be so that they actually enjoy their existence. And you're teaming up with Melissa, who is, you know, so good at understanding the business and the strategy and the money and how to be able to use the material world and the resources of the world, aka business and money, to build a life that you can successfully and you know, slide into in a satisfying way. And so you can see how these two pieces come together, really create something magical. So it was interesting. Me, Melissa, and our graphic designer got a chance to get together, and she was like, Melissa, this is the missing piece for you. And I was like, you know what's interesting is I feel like this is the missing piece for me. I was like, I have all these people who I help them love their life and feel better, but they're like, yeah, but like I want to monetize this. How do I make money being happy? And I'm like, Melissa's your girl. So I'm super excited to see what we get to create. Thank you, Lena, so much for trusting me with this. And I wish you guys a happy night. Love you.